Afternoon and welcome to myself, Cecil G, and James B doing a pre-match build-up show for tonight's game. Yes, we're going to be talking all things football in the lead-up, and yeah, we've got, as you can see, AFTV have blown their budget on the lovely visuals we have here, and us too. So stay tuned. We're going to begin with, well, asking James about, have you recovered from the loss against City?
Have I recovered? I feel better about it. Do you know, like, a lot of the results made me feel better about it. I know that probably isn't a good thing to say, but when you see your rivals dropping points, I think it does just sort of put your mind at ease, and it sort of reminds you that, you know, the Etihad is quite a difficult place to go.
Yeah, agreed.
But we don't care. We're going to talk about it in a bit more detail later, but I'm actually excited to be at the Europa League game now. These Premier League games, they're tense affairs. We never make it easy. So I'm not saying the Europa League will be easy, but it's just nice to have a different competition to focus on today.
Definitely, definitely. Listen, everyone, get your comments in below, because we'll be going through comments all through this live. So make sure you're commenting. And yeah, we're going to move on. And I'm going to ask you a simple question. And the fans at home. Do you care about the Europa League? I was there on the ground asking fans. And yeah, let's see what they had to say first. Yes, my people, it's your boy Cecil G, and we're back at the ground asking the fans some questions ahead of this Thursday's game against SK Rapid.
Not really, no. I normally wouldn't even care in a normal year, and in this year I care even less.
Would you care when they get towards the end, maybe the latter stages, hopefully say semis or finals?
If I was really desperate, I'd probably watch a semi and a final.
Yeah, I sort of care about it. I reckon, like, when you're in the group stages, it's not really like the thing that I watch the most, but like as soon as we get past like the round of 32, there's a lot of games, but like past then yeah, I sort of start to care a bit more.
So that's what the fans had to say about the Europa League. Now, what I found interesting was when I was on the ground, a lot of people said they don't really care about the Europa League at all. But when we uploaded the video and I looked in the comments, all the fans seemed to really care about the Europa League. They said it's another trophy, it's something we should take serious. I'm intrigued to know, James, what's your opinion on the Europa League?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke about this on the preview show with Robbie, and it's a difficult one because it's very hard to be as motivated about the Europa League when you know that you are playing, with all due respect, weaker opposition. It's a Thursday night, which can sometimes be awkward because you've seen all the Champions League football and the preparation for the Premier League is coming up. Obviously, it can, you know, also, I don't know, just bring some niggly, difficult sort of situations. But once you get past the group stage, which can be a bit of a slog, actually it gets quite exciting, admittedly. I mean, the last 32, again, is more in the sort of group stage realm, but, you know, once the Champions League teams drop in, and you're left with sort of the best of those Europa League sides, it can actually get really difficult. And I wouldn't, this isn't an easy competition to win. This is our 4th year in it now, and we've had a semi-final, a final, and then out of the 32. So it's not easy. My overall feelings about it is that I just don't admittedly care as much until we get
into the latter stages.
That's not to say I don't care about it. If we're doing badly in it, that's disappointing, because usually means youngsters aren't doing well or the reserves aren't stepping up or whatever. I want the team to do well, and I care if we don't win. I just don't have that same like rush as I do for maybe Premier League games or cup ties. But it's definitely a great competition to win. I really think we should do everything to win it as well.
No, I agree. I feel like we should take it seriously and try and get this as a trophy. I'm now going to go and look at some comments. So let's see what people are saying. Oh, so we've got Andrew Brown saying unleash Smith Rowe. Now I know you're a fan of Smith Rowe. I want to see him play. So yeah, speak on Smith Rowe. I think you are keen to see him play as well, James.
Yeah, well, definitely go into a little bit more detail about Smith Rowe later when we go through the 11 I'd like to see. But Smith Rowe is definitely a talent. I hope we'll be getting a lot of game time in the Europa League. And he was, you know, supposedly there were clubs who were interested in taking him on loan, and Mikel Arteta wanted to keep him. That's what the reports are saying. So yeah, hope we'll get to see him figure tonight and throughout the group stage, because there's a good 6 games to go in that.
Okay. Well, keep getting your comments in, guys. We're gonna keep going through them throughout the show. I want to now talk about, James, what went wrong against City. Let's have a look. What went wrong? What do we need to do in the next game and going forward to, well, beat teams?
Yeah, City was a was a funny game, right? Because we lost and we were super disappointed, but not for normal reasons. They didn't. I wouldn't say they dominated us in the way we know City can by peppering our goal or whatever. I don't want to focus so much on the defensive aspect of the game because I actually thought in that sense we did pretty well. I want to look at us going forward, and I want to open up this graphic here. This is just something, I'm sorry viewers, this looks like chaos, I appreciate that. But let me just try and give a bit of context and explain what I'm showing here. I've basically drawn out in yellow every single pass that went to a player on the left side of the pitch, and every single pass in blue that went to a player on the right side of the pitch. So you can see Leno passed it up to Tierney 4 times, only Bellerin twice. Luiz and Gabriel were pretty much interchanging a lot. Xhaka looking towards Gabriel and Saka more than Luiz and Ceballos. And I thought you can just see there's a slight thickness, you know, in the sort of patches of yellow to the blue. We were just a little bit more focused on that end. I spoke about that in the stats preview show, the fact that all of our passes seem to be more concentrated out to the left. But I thought this was incredibly interesting. When I look slightly further up the pitch, and here, Willian's sort of role in the team. Now, he was obviously playing as this false 9. Now, I think in fairness to Arteta, I think the hope was that he'd be able to pick up the ball and basically he's just a little bit more agile than Lacazette, can maybe turn past a man, beat a man, and basically feed Pepe and Aubameyang into the front 3. I think that was the idea, and it didn't really work.
I mean, found this very shocking when you showed me this, because I was thinking, as a false 9 player, you should be bringing other players, but as you're about to say. Yeah,
and I'm glad you bring that up, because if you look here, I've also put in red the fact that there were no passes made by Willian to Aubameyang here or to Saka, not in behind, not nothing. And then into Ceballos and Pepe, significantly more. That's 3 times he passed the ball to Pepe, and Ceballos, I think we're looking at 6 or 7 times there. Now, I don't know, fans might remember the FA Cup semi-final wasn't that long ago, back in July when we beat Man City. And a lot of the time, the football came from our centre-backs out into Tierney, whether Xhaka and whoever was in central midfield were involved as well. And if you remember that first goal, the ball was played into, at the time it was Lacazette up front, who took the ball on the turn, and the first thing he did was swing it out to Pepe, who found a cross ball to Aubameyang and scored at the back post. Looking at this, and we've spoken in depth about how our focus was mainly down the left, I think the idea, like it was in that semi-final, was for Willian to be the out ball and to play it into Ceballos and Pepe, mainly Pepe, and to look to exploit that space on the right as much as possible. The reality is it just didn't happen because Pepe simply didn't get the service that, you know, looked like Saka was trying to provide to Aubameyang down that left. So an incredibly frustrating afternoon for the right side of the pitch, and I was very critical, saying that it looked like all our football was trying to go down the left. I still believe a lot of that is true. However, when you look at this, I do think that actually that wasn't necessarily by design, and maybe the idea was to get the ball into, going to highlight it here, oh, forgive me. I think the idea was to get the ball into this final third here, and then spread the ball out onto the right, but it just didn't happen.
It didn't happen at all. I feel like the players seemed confused, and once it got past half time at City, it was not working at all.
No, they'd figured it out. City had absolutely figured it out. And so I want to take us back to the 11s here, because obviously it was quite funny listening to the commentary on the TV. It was so difficult to understand what on earth City were playing in terms of formation and lineup. And I think basically Guardiola, I don't think he went out to batter us. I think he showed more respect than that. I think he put out an 11 that he thought would be efficient defensively and going forward for Man City. And I think the key to that was this man here, João Cancelo, because we couldn't quite understand where he was playing. He was sort of playing,
he was playing everywhere through the midfield.
Yeah, he was
covering.
Literally, he was holding the width when Mahrez came inside. But the big thing he was doing, if we just clear this, oh, see, going to need a bit of practice on this.
Happens on live. It's all going on.
He was playing in this sort of area here and very much shielding Walker. And what that allowed Walker to do was essentially cover this space here by making tracking runs, coming inside if he had to. And João Cancelo very much just dominated this area here.
Yeah, because before the game, we said to kill City would be to get into them positions there where Walker had the freedom to cover because of Cancelo. So, boys, they like I said, they worked it out. in the second half, I believe, and
They
that's
did.
That's how they stopped us.
And on another day, that might have worked with, you know, you've got Saka here playing through balls into behind, potentially to Aubameyang to get onto.
Yeah.
But the reality is they completely prepared for that. You had Cancelo who was doing a job on Saka, you had Walker who was doing a job on Aubameyang, and Arsenal had no answer to it, which is why I was frustrated that we didn't go down the right and basically attack this area here I'm going to highlight, where Ake and Foden were essentially left to their own devices. I felt there was a lot of space there. I felt we could have done more. But the truth is, if we just clear all this again,
Yeah.
that R11, forgive me, just going to open it one more time. Right, we've reset that there. The 11 and our average position looked much more something like this.
Yeah,
Ceballos and Xhaka were very narrow throughout the game, often trying to pick the ball up from Gabriel here and Tierney. And it just didn't work. Willian, was meant to drop in and maybe help a little bit. Saka, you know, was very much hugging the touchline there. It just didn't work for me. I felt we were way too overloaded on the left. We didn't get the ball out to Pepe on the counter or when that space did open up through Willian. And City had an answer to it, and you looked at their goal, they were just efficient. When they did get in behind Xhaka and Ceballos, who were quite disciplined throughout the game, they were running at our defence. Bellerin commits to Foden. Foden gets a shot on goal, and then Sterling puts the rebound away. So really frustrating, but I just felt, I'm going to highlight it one more time, that this area of the pitch here, where we were playing most of our football, was just far too congested. And it's no surprise that Aubameyang was having to take a lot of touches out on the touchline, because it was probably the only place he found space where he wasn't quite being man-marked by Mahrez, Cancelo or Walker. And when he did come inside, I don't think it was an obvious pass. In fact, the only times we did get in behind, just going to clear that there, was when Bakayo Saka was actually the one who made a run inside or got in behind. That was the only time we really caused them problems, when Saka had to do it by himself.
Definitely, Saka was a standout, in my opinion, on that night. So I want to quickly bring up a stat here about Bakayo Saka. So if we just pop that up now. So he's proven, in my opinion, that he can play extremely well in Europa League due to that stat. And I feel like he'll be key in this Europa League campaign. It just depends with if Arteta's if he's gonna use him or not. That's what I'm really worried about. I feel like he should play. He's proven himself. I think he's definitely the standout. Like I said previously, his maturity is second to none within the team. And yeah, I feel like he'll be very useful in this campaign. It just depends if Arteta's gonna wanna protect him for the Premier League matches. It's something I'm excited to see on the game tonight. So.
Well, Bakayo Saka, when he broke through in the Europa League last year, he was playing much more on the wing, actually, which I think suited him. He got a lot of assists last year, and a lot of that came from overlapping down the left, whether it was as left back or as left winger. I'm with you. I'd quite like to see him playing in the Europa League, and we'll see later that I've got him in my chosen preferred 11, and the reason being that he's still developing, he's still young. I would like to see him just still playing in this sort of area here, you know, linking defence to attack. He did really well against Man City, who are a different level of opposition.
Definitely.
I think the more practice he gets in that role, the better. And I don't want to see him doing it, you know, in this way where basically, you know, off the ball and out of possession, he's playing as more of a left wing back.
Yeah.
I don't really want to see that. He can do it well. He's done it well, but I just think that's getting a little bit too complicated for my liking.
Agreed.
It worked in a few games, but I want to see him just playing as a left central midfielder.
Yeah, we lack creativity, and I feel like he can be the person to unlock the creativity within the midfield. So I feel like he should be utilised further up the field. Now, you spoke about Saka being involved in your starting 11. So, James, show us what do you think the starting 11 against SK Rapid VM will be tonight?
Well, I'm not sure if it's what I think it will be, but it's what I'd like it to be.
Yep.
Let's just run it through. We've got Runar Runnison. I'm hoping we'll see a debut for him today. The little we do know about him is that supposedly, I think his handling has been in question before at his previous clubs, but supposedly very good passing out the back. So I'd like to see him. I think this is a good game to bring him in. There's 5 games to go if things don't go right tonight. I think this will be a good test for him because I also think Vienna will cause us a lot of problems. I've then gone for Cedric and Kolasinac as our fullbacks, and obviously, how could I forget to mention a 4-3-3 tonight? I don't want to mess around too much with that. I think the 4-3-3 is the way to go.
Yeah.
And then surprisingly, maybe to most, I want to see Gabriel and Luis starting together. The reason I mentioned these two is they played against City. I thought they looked very good. But I think they've kind of at the moment still been playing in this sort of if I just clear it here, this sort of hybrid sort of back three still, where off the ball actually they've still got a lot of protection. I think today would be a really good opportunity to just see them as a flat back four, see how they work as a defensive partnership, get David Luiz used to playing on the right side of centre back more often, and basically, you know what, get them used to defending space, because actually they're gonna, if we play a 4-3-3, they're going to have more space around them to control and dominate than they're probably used to, or have been used to since the season started. I would quite like to see Gabriel and Luiz together, getting that bit of game time, and also having a little bit of, I don't know, just having a little bit of practice, feeding it into a three-man midfield.
Yeah, I think the more matches they play together, the better, in my opinion. The more they get familiar with playing with each other, the better it'll be for the team. And we have replacements as well. We have loads of centre backs, so if someone gets a knock, then they can go jump straight back in. So
absolutely,
I very much agree with you.
If we look in, sorry, I echo everything you just said. And if we go into midfield as well, I think this is really interesting, because I have gone on and on about the fact that we overloaded the left. Now, I don't mind the positions that Saka is picking up, essentially dominating this sort of area here, right? But I'd like to see something similar from Smith Rowe, and basically just have a little balance down that side as well. Now, I think if there's one thing we've learned from Mikel Arteta since he took the job, is that he's not an Arteta, a BTEC Pep Guardiola, right? He's not coming in to try and be Pep. And I think when we hired him, despite other maybe concerns of lack of managerial experience, I think maybe some people thought he's going to try too hard to be Guardiola. I never thought that, but you know, I can understand why that might have been on people's minds. Agreed. This 11 here that I've gone for would not be too dissimilar to the way Guardiola would have set his team up in the 17-18 and 18-19 seasons. And if I'm looking for players to compare to, David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne are very much playing. Wow, no. Wow. That's going to be cut up and used against me. Listen.
Yeah, comparing them, but carry on.
Right. I'm talking position here. I'm talking position.
Sorry, I should have cut you.
Going to get ruined for that, Cecil. I'm talking position here, and I believe the role is called mezzala, which in Italian, I know.
You are.
I know. Being half Italian, it basically means half wing. So it's basically a player who, gets into these sort of channels here where they're not really playing on the wing, but they're still holding a degree of width and helping out in those areas where possible. Now, a mezzala, the way sort of...
Such a cool word. Mezzala.
It's a cool word.
Like a nice
I think it's
dish.
actually pronounced mezzala, but I don't want to get wrecked for that.
Yeah, it sounds like a nice little dish for me.
Yeah. Right. I think the idea, or certainly the way Pep Guardiola used to play it, is his wingers would hold their width massively. At the time, that would be Sane and Sterling out on the left and the right. And what the mezzala would do, or let's just say De Bruyne and Silva, because it's just getting ridiculous.
Go on, carry on.
They basically make these underlaps.
Yeah.
They basically make the runs when we didn't have the ball, when they didn't have the ball, but we had it out wide, and they'd make those runs fed by our wingers in behind, and often there'd be a cutback.
Cool.
That was essentially how a lot of the time he set them up, and it was very effective, because what you then had was a defensive barrier created by inverted wing backs. So you almost had a defensive five and then a front five, and it worked very fluidly. It was different. I thought it was a great success when they won their league titles. Now I think this is a drastic change from what Arteta's been doing. I'd be very surprised if suddenly he clicked his fingers and went, right, two mezzalas, wide wingers, wide wingers, inverted wing backs. I think that'd be way too much of a change from what we're used to seeing. But what I do think we could see is just a bit more balance, where what Saka's been doing out on the left, picking up the ball, trying to link the defence, playing in Nelson or feeding in wide. I think Smith Rowe could operate and do a very similar thing. And I said before, I like what Saka's been doing in this team. I just think there's a lack of balance. And if we were doing a similar thing down the right, where Smith Rowe was playing that sort of link from defence to attack, then maybe there's something in it. Maybe there's something in having our central midfielders going really wide and trying to get involved with the play there. But Balance is everything in football.
Yeah.
I think you rarely see a team succeed at the highest level with an imbalance in their squad. And I think tonight would be a really good opportunity to try and bring Pepe more into the game, bring Nelson more into the game, and basically just sort of mix it up a little bit. Maybe have overlaps from Cedric, was something he did very well in his time at Southampton, and just mix it up a bit. And to round it off, I think the front three, Nketiah and Nelson need game time, and I think Pepe needs confidence. So that's the 11 I'd go for.
Okay. We got some comments here of their people's 11. So we got a super chat here from Sam Shazada, and he goes, "I want to see a 4-2-3-1 with Runnison in goal, Ainsley, Maitland-Niles." Are you gonna put it up?
Yeah, let's draw it out for him. Let's draw it out for him.
So Sam wants to see a 4-2-3-1. Runnison in goal. We got Ainsley, Maitland-Niles, Mustafi, and Gabriel, and Kolasinac.
Yep. Got his back five there.
Lovely. And then El Nene, Partey, Saka, and then Emmanuel Smith-Rowe.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
On the wing there, and Pepe and Lacazette.
What have I done with Smith-Rowe? There he is.
There he is on there. Do you know
Pepe and Lacazette, that is, was it?
Yep, Pepe and Lacazette. And do you know what? Looking at that, Sam, I'm not too mad at it either, actually. I'm not too mad at that.
No, I can see it. I wouldn't be surprised. Lacazette didn't start and hasn't started the last few games.
And he's on form,
Pepe needs confidence, and Smith-Rowe played out on the left against when was it? In the under-23s against Manchester United. And I've just realised he said a 4-2-3-1, so it might actually look more something like this, with Saka out on the left wing,
4-2-3, yeah.
Partey on Nelly, Smith-Rowe in the 10. So that's a good suggestion. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the big talking point as well is whether we're going to see this man, Thomas Partey.
Yes.
Is he going to get a start today? I personally wouldn't start him because I think he's going to have a lot of Premier League football to play. I think he'll be thrust straight in there against Leicester personally. At least that's what I would do. But maybe get him some game time. So yeah, not a bad shout. But that's definitely a good 11. I can see that.
Perfect. Yeah, no, do you know what? I'm happy with that as well. Any more comments? Let's have a look. We've got a lot of hashtag free Ozil. So we've got Mike Waz saying free Ozil. We had a lot of that this morning in your live streams and yesterday's. A lot of people are still on Ozil. Partey to play from KC saying Partey to play. It's a Partey from Alex Coppen there. Would like to have Partey, or I'd like to see him personally. I don't know if...
Would you have him in your team? Go on, let's build your team very quick. What would you have?
I think I gave my team out on the channel this week, and I feel like I would have I still had Gabriel and Luiz playing centre back.
Yeah.
Take out Mustafi there.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Yeah. I did have Smith-Rowe. I think this is quite similar to my one.
I like this team. It's got me thinking again.
I had a 4-3-3 though. I didn't have the 2-1-3. I feel like the 4-3-3 was my initial thinking. Yeah, 100%. I said I'd have Nketiah starting as well over Smith-Rowe.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, not playing there. And I'd put, the formation's a bit different.
You wanted to have him on the left, Nketiah, maybe, didn't you?
Yeah, playing in Aubameyang's role, which I know I don't want to compare Nketiah to Aubameyang too early yet. But
he's got pace, he can carry, I could see it.
Yeah, and I believe he could do the job that Aubameyang does, in my opinion. And I feel like Arteta's not going to want to change or defer too much from what the Premier League side does. So I feel like this is more the team. I didn't have Partey starting. I swapped him out for... Who did I swap him out for? Hold on, bear with me. Easy man, then.
Do you know what? I'll give you Willock.
Yeah.
Because I think he's worth a mention. Because Joe Willock, I thought, did very well in the Europa League last year, especially in the group stage. I thought he came in and he had matches where he was looking the real deal and matches where he looked out of place. I wouldn't be against him starting today either. I think maybe if Saka does need a rest or maybe should be taken out for Leicester, then Willock should play because I like him and he's he's similar to Ramsey, what he was. Sort of he had skill and creativity and scored goals, but he's also can do the box-to-box thing. So wouldn't mind seeing him in there as well.
Definitely. I think Lacazette's on form and so's Nketiah. I think they deserve to be playing. They shouldn't be wasted on the bench at this moment in time. Okay, so enough talk, enough analysts on Arsenal.
Yeah.
Let's talk about SK Rapid Vienna. Let's see what's going on.
Well, we're going to bring a graphic up right now, which basically, you can see here they've played 4 games in the league so far.
Yeah.
Won 3, drawn 1, and lost none, which is pretty good in the league. They scored 10 goals. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert on Rapid Vienna.
Yeah, we tried to do a lot of research.
We've done research
but there wasn't much.
because they're a good side, and I'm not knowing a lot about them. I don't mean any disrespect in that. They're a good side. They're going to cause us problems. As we said on the stats preview show, they've reached the knockouts of this competition in 2015-16 and in 18-19 as well. So they're a good side. They understand this competition. They've got through the groups before. I think they'll get through this group as well.
They're unbeaten at the moment as well.
Yeah,
in the last 3.
absolutely.
Scoring many goals. So
yeah, and their last league win was a 3-0 win, I believe. So I want to focus on that last league win because they typically play a 4-2-3-1, but they played this 11, this 3-4-3 formation that we've been playing a lot recently. Did a bit of research on them and what we can expect, and I think the reality is we're going to see something like this. I think, unlike our centre-backs who typically might pull out quite wide or might slot in like that, I think these guys are going to be very tight. I think this is going to be almost a genuine back 5, looking something like this. I think it's going to look more like a 5-2-3.
Okay.
A little bit about their players, Ullman and Arasi, I hope I pronounced that right. They've got a lot of pace, and I could see them offering some sort of width and overlap, when needed, but ultimately I think they'll stick quite tight. I also think we're going to see this front 3 looking very dangerous.
Nice.
You've got Merg and Funtas have looked typically like players who want to get in behind. Good on the ball, nippy, skillful, pacey, and Kara up top is much more of a hold-up man. Now, their first goal of the weekend when they forgot who they beat, but they won 3-0. The movement was essentially a long ball up top. Oh, good, I've cleared everything, good work. A long ball up top, and then Kara very much came up and held the ball.
So he's more of a target man.
He's much more of a target man.
Big hold-up player.
Absolutely. Big guy. He took the ball on his chest.
Yep.
He turned and he rolled it into Funtas, who then crossed it into Merg, who came at the back post and put it in the back of the net. I think we're going to see a lot of this.
Okay.
Kara holding the ball up, causing our centre-backs problems, and then runners in behind from the front 3. It's not many players in terms of an attacking threat. It can be very effective, especially if you don't get a hold of that man. So whoever's playing centre-back, I think it's going to have a real handful. And if we are playing a 4 at the back, Cedric and Kolasinac are going to be very wary, or have to be very wary about getting too high up the pitch, because I think they're going to play a 5 and literally a 2 to sit quite deep and protect. And obviously you're going to have... you're going to have Funtas and Merg obviously making a bit of a 4, but I tell you what, when Kara holds that ball up and protects, they're going to make those runs forward. They're going to get up there because they've got pace, and I think they could cause us problems. Now look, they have typically played a 4-2-3-1, but I just wonder whether maybe they reverted to this formation to basically counter the fact that they're going to be playing Arsenal soon and get a bit of practice in it.
Yeah.
But don't expect an easy game, especially as we're going to talk about. They've got fans there now. They're going to be really revved up for this.
I think that's going to have a different dynamic to the game. Before we go on to the fans and talk about them, let's go through some comments. So we've got Trix J, this is why Cecil isn't a coach, and Nketiah on the left. Now don't come for me here, because I actually feel like Nketiah can play out on the left, and he can do, like I said, Aubameyang's role. I feel like Arteta's not going to change up his playing style for the Europa League. I feel like he's going to emulate what he's doing in the Europa League to the Premier League, and I feel like the person that can do that is Nketiah. So
attributes-wise, Nketiah can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think the fear is that he's too much of a poacher, really, in front of goal, and his instinctive movement down the middle is too good to be denied. But I can understand why Nketiah would,
be all right out there.
Yeah, could develop as a winger.
Yeah, Tricks. So, Sui Guna Sui says...
Thanks for the comment, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Keep commenting. I'm going to go through them now. I want Partey to start, says Sui Guna Sui. I think a lot of people do want him to start. What else we got here? Why would Wenger care if Ozil? Okay, this is a random question. Ham says, why would Wenger care if Ozil isn't in the squad? So that's a bit random.
Yeah, well.
How is this game too big for Saliba? Eager Arnold says.
He's just not in the Europa League squad.
Yeah, he wasn't announced.
It's a real shame, but that's just the reality of it. He's not in the squad, and you know, that's of all the squad decisions that were made, of which there were many public ones, Ozil, Socrates. Actually, Saliba not being in the Europa League squad is the most disappointing. He's at this, if not above this level. He should be playing. Really good experience for him. I don't really know why we needed to include other centre-backs who are going to be playing regularly. Even if you left Gabriel out, who's clearly going to be a Premier League regular, say to him, look, Gabriel, you know, you're going to be playing in the league. We shouldn't need you. Saliba's going to get game time. So I think if there's one decision I'm I wouldn't say unhappy with, but sceptical about, it's this one. I think Arteta might have got this one wrong, if I'm honest.
Okay, interesting. Wow. There's a lot of people actually, some people are getting at Arteta in the comments. Carlos said stupid Arteta, which is a bit harsh, but yeah, there's a lot of mixed opinions on Arteta, and I feel, my personal opinion, I feel like he's getting a lot of stick early doors for what's been going on recently, and I feel like we still need to have trust in him and just trust what he says. Obviously, he took the flak for Ozil, which I believe came from above, in my opinion. He's just taking the heat, but I don't think he's stupid. I feel like we still should give him a chance. Obviously, against City, I was very, very. I didn't really understand why he had Willian in the false nine position, but you know, hopefully today that might be all explained by maybe replicating what he did against City, but with different players and a better execution, shall I say?
Yeah, potentially.
Okay, so let's go back to the fans that we spoke about in the week. So obviously, if you guys don't know, SK Rapid Vienna, they sold about 3,000 tickets. So there's going to be fans in there. I think it's a different dynamic for the game. And I don't know how Arsenal, I know it's not a lot of fans, but I don't know how they'll cope with having fans in the stadium. Like, I know we like to play out from the back. I know a lot of teams are starting to do that. But with fans, that may offer a bit of, anxiety for the players there. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how much noise a 3,000 people crowd can generate. And I'm sure it's loud. I've been to games where crowds aren't too dissimilar to that, and of course they can make a lot of noise. But Arsenal will be used to real big hostile crowds across England, across Europe. I don't think we're going to get that tonight, but I think we'll get a crowd. Obviously, not a single Arsenal fan there because of obviously the nature of the global pandemic and everything that's going on. I think they'd be more affected if it was Arsenal fans at the Emirates, because playing out the back, the beauty of it and being able to do it under such tight situations. I think the beauty of it is that has been the fact that there's been no pressure and they've been able to trust in each other and they know exactly what the manager wants. But fans don't know that. They just want to see us score goals and play safe.
They haven't got the Arsenal fans screaming saying, get rid of it, kick it long, get rid of it. It's too much,
And I've been at the Emirates when that's happened, and it's infuriating because I'm like, of course it gives you anxiety, but you want to just trust in the process.
Yeah,
and trust
they've been practicing all week. They've been doing that all week in training, playing out, making passing sequences all throughout the week, doing shape. And then when you got fans screaming, I feel like it, like I said, adds a different dynamic. But
yeah, I don't think they'll be impacted too much by the crowd from a stylistic point of view in terms of whether. If anyone's going to benefit from the crowd, it's Vienna. They're going to be pumped and they might have that extra 10-20%. So don't think it'll affect us, but to say it won't affect the game, no. Having fans is always going to make it better. It's always going to add a different dimension, and the home team will benefit from that, I think.
Agreed. I'm going to answer a question here. Adam says, has Robbie died or something? Where's the lad at? Don't worry, Robbie is safe, everyone, okay? He's in the building, he's safe. There's nothing wrong with him. He'll be here later in a watch along. This is just a pre-match build-up. So everyone that's worried about Robbie, where is he? Don't worry, he's still here, okay? Jeez, there's a lot of comments asking.
Where's Robbie?
Where's Robbie? Is he dead? No, he's safe, okay? So all of that's done. Okay, I think that is pretty much us coming to an end of the show. Ah, speaking of the man himself.
He's here.
Speaking of the Don Robbie.
Do you know how many people have been asking?
Robbie, if I tell you these comments, where's Robbie? Oh, what's going on? Listen, Robbie's got, everyone's asking if you're alive and if you're safe because we've got our show, but Robbie's doing...
Coming on soon with the starting 11.
Yes, he is very safe and well, doing very well as you can see. The budget's gone up. We've got the visuals, we've got the tactics. They got us. Robbie's looking after us. Okay, so you know what I mean. Be kind. And you know what? This is a good, lovely way to wrap up the end of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you everyone for watching. Like I said, get your comments in. This is myself, Cecil G, and James B. It's our pre-match build-up show. We'll be here every Arsenal match day. Peace out. Thank you very much.